The walls of Jericho, the battle won with a shout. After 40 long years of wandering in the wilderness, the Israelites finally stood at the edge of the Promised Land. Their leader Moses had passed the torch to Joshua, a brave and faithful warrior. But between them and their new home stood the mighty city of Jericho, fortified with towering walls so thick and tall that no army could break through. God spoke to Joshua, "I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with the priests blowing the trumpets. When you hear them sound a long blast, have all the people give a loud shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse and the people will go straight in." It sounded like the strangest battle plan ever. No battering rams, no ladders, no secret tunnels, just marching, trumpets, and a shout. But Joshua trusted God completely. Early the next morning, Joshua gave the orders. The priests picked up the Ark of the Covenant, the symbol of God's presence, and led the way. Armed soldiers marched in front and behind, while 7 priests blew their trumpets. The people followed in silence, their footsteps echoing off Jericho's walls. Inside the city, the people of Jericho watched in confusion and fear. Day after day, the Israelites marched once around the city, then returned to camp. Not a word was spoken. Only the haunting sound of trumpets filled the air. On the 7th day, everything changed. At sunrise, the Israelites marched around the city not once, but 7 times. The priests blew their trumpets louder and longer. On the 7th lap, Joshua shouted, "Shout! For the Lord has given you the city." The people raised their voices in a mighty roar. In that instant, the ground trembled. The massive walls of Jericho shook, cracked, and then, crash! They tumbled down, turning to rubble before everyone's eyes. The Israelites rushed in and captured the city just as God had promised. But God had also given special instructions. Rahab, the woman who had hidden Israelite spies and trusted in God, was to be spared along with her family. Joshua made sure she and her loved ones were safe, and Rahab became part of God's people. The victory at Jericho was more than just a military triumph. It was a miracle that showed God's power and faithfulness. The Israelites learned that when they trusted God and followed His plan, even the impossible became possible. Joshua's story reminds us that God's ways are sometimes unexpected, but they are always perfect. When we face obstacles that seem too big to overcome, we can trust that God has a plan, and sometimes all it takes is faith, obedience, and a joyful shout. The walls of Jericho story proves that with faith and obedience, even the strongest barriers can fall and the greatest victories can be won.